Well, morning, campers. It's actually not morning. It's at night. It's Sunday night, and I just thought, you know what, I should give you guys a little kind of update on what me and Wow have been doing now that I'm back home in Medicine Hat. Kind of what we've come up with, and yeah, just sort of let you know what like I said, what we've been doing. So, we've been discussing a lot about when are we going to leave, which border crossing we're going to take. There was this thing with the Wow and his visa, and if how that was going to work. And I think we kind of have it figured out now. So, with regards to the border crossing point, we have to go through Chief Mountain, we hope. That actually hasn't been open since COVID hit in 2020. So we should find out by June 1st. It's May 30th today, I think. Is it? Or is it May 30th tomorrow? Let me just see. Goodness gracious, I can't remember the day. Yeah, tomorrow. Sorry, tomorrow is May 30th. So will it be open? We'll have to wait and see. If it's not open, we're going to go through a border crossing which is to the east of that, which is open. And then we will have to go to, actually we'll have to go to Two Medicine. And we'll have to get permits to go through East Glacier. Then we will have to go back up to Chief Mountain to where we can start the trail. And thanks to my lovely girlfriend Lisa, she is willing to drive us. And I mean, it's a pretty big drive actually, because it's 3 hours to Waterton, then it's like an hour, I think it's an hour and 40 minutes to Two Medicine. So that's like, now we're on almost a 5 hour drive. And then when we get there, we've got permits, we've got a resupply that we have to send to, I can't remember the name of it right off the top of my head, but anyway, we have to do a resupply box of food for around 6 days. We have to send that ahead, and then we would have to either drive back up to Chief Mountain, and then Lisa has to go, we'd have to go back down and then drive back across the border again. So I mean, it's a really long day. But anyway, that is probably going to be around June 22nd. It's kind of the tentative plan. We've also found out my son knew somebody in East Glacier and kind of asked a few questions about, well, what do you think the trail conditions are like, and what do you think, like, what's the weather like down there? And basically he's come back and said, yeah, you know what, we are about 2 or 3 weeks behind. Like, winter basically hung around a little longer than it usually does, and they are probably 2 to 3 weeks behind what they would normally be, which we were going to leave on June 15th, and then we sort of changed our minds and decided, because of that fact, and then there's other news reports, like in BAM, for example, what are saying they still have winter conditions. So the lot of different, it seems to be the same all over. So that's why we decided June 21st. Now we could have waited, maybe another week, but that just seems to be too late. So we thought, okay, split the difference. So that's kind of what we're going for. Sorry, June 22nd, pardon me. So anyway, that's kind of the plan. So we've been doing a bit of walking, basically doing the training. You remember one of the videos I did, the training video? That's what we've been doing. Got our backpacks on, we go, try and go every day. We don't, sometimes I don't make it. Wow is walking quite a bit. he usually goes every day. Sometimes I don't. And yeah, that's what we're doing. And I would just like to say, you know, just to say to Lisa and all our family, thank you for the warm welcome that you've given. Wow, you know, I bring this guy back with me. And I mean, they know me, right? So I mean, it's like, and I bring this guy back, and they're like, "Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, take wow here, take wow there." We were just over for supper. Lisa's had us for supper. At her place with wow, and met all the fun, and it's just been, wow is he, he's really really enjoyed it, and he says, yeah, geez, what a super nice family, Lisa has. And he's, last talked to my son, and yeah, I mean, it's been, fabulous, just absolutely fabulous. And I have to say, like, to Lisa and her family, I mean, thank you, for welcoming this guy, as I knew you would, but it's just nice. Sometimes it's just nice to hear that, So anyway, yeah, that's that's what we've been up to, and. That's kind of the plan. So there's a couple of other things I'd like to share with you. One thing is I have a few little personal items that I haven't really mentioned that I take with me on the trail. And if you notice on my profile picture, and I don't know if you've noticed, you'll notice that if you look at that picture, I'm carrying a rock. And the significance of that is that I think it was 6 years ago, it would be about 6 years ago, or at least 5. I had just met Lisa. Actually, it will be 6 years in June 8th actually. But I met Lisa 6 years ago on June 8th. And that year, I had planned to go to Nepal, which was in September. So I'd only been going out with Lisa for a short time. And really, really liked her. I mean, right off the bat. So anyway, I'm off to Nepal. Something that I'd booked before I'd even met Lisa. So I said to Lisa, I said, "Oh, can I bring you something back, from Nepal?" And so what Lisa said to me was, "Well, I'd like you to bring me back a rock." She said, "A heart-shaped rock." Okay, so first couple of days I'm in Nepal, I'm looking around for a rock, heart-shaped rock. And actually, there was an Australian couple there who I was quite friendly with. A guy called Blake and a girl called Sam, and they were sort of together. They weren't a couple, but they were together. And so they were helping me try to find a rock, because I told them the story about Lisa trying to find a rock. So anyway, one day Sam came across this rock, and the rock is about the size of my hand, and it was heart-shaped. And I saw it and I was like, it's a bit big, but it was a heart-shaped rock. So I started carrying it. And I actually carried it in my hand. And the funny thing was, it just fit right in my hand. And it kind of like felt like, you were holding somebody's hand sort of thing. So I carried it for the next 21 days. I carried this rock around. And sometimes I'd forget it. I should have kept paid, but I'd sit down for a break, like coffee break or a little snack or whatever, and I'd lay it down, have my snack, and then we'd off go hiking, and then I'd be like, "Oh no, I forgot the rock." Run back down the mountain, or run back down the trail, pick up the rock, run back up to catch up with the group, and that was kind of how it went. But anyway, I took this rock home for Lisa, and she still has it actually, and that's what that picture is. So, and that's why I have it on there, because Lisa is she's, like I said, been really really supportive, And, I'm off on this trek for like, months, and she's looking after my house and doing all these things for me. And she actually gave me this, which is actually a purple heart-shaped stone. Because when she texts me, she will put like purple hearts. So she gave me this purple heart, which I take with me. It's take it in my wallet, thing that wear around my neck. So I always have it with me to remind me of her. And that's kind of where the whole story goes. So I just thought I'd share that with you guys. The other thing I thought I'd share with you, and it was something that Wow had suggested, because I have this chain that I wear around my neck, and it means quite a bit to me. And what happened was, it's silver, and everything went black from the sweat, of going through New Mexico. It was completely black. I couldn't believe it. So anyway, I cleaned it, and as I was cleaning it, I said to Wow, he was sort of watching me, and I said to Wow, do you know what, have I told you about this chain? And he said, no. I said, oh, I'll tell you. So I did. And he sort of said to me, you should really share that with your folks on YouTube. I said, do you think so? He said, yeah. So that's kind of why I'm telling you about the rock and the heart-shaped rock and all that. So anyway, I'm going to go through this chain. And it's not in any particular order, but the first thing I have on here, I'll just stop that from, is I have this Celtic cross. And the reason I have that is it reminds me of where I'm from. So it's a Celtic cross, and I was born in Scotland, and also it reminds me of like the values that my parents gave me growing up, and even as an adult. I'm really proud of my parents. My parents were missionaries, and I'm not really, I wouldn't say I'm not religious, but I'm not. I don't want to talk. I'm not going to preach to the crowd here or anything like that. But certainly, my parents were missionaries, and they worked for an organisation called the Royal National Mission to Deep Sea Fishermen, and they did that for, I think over 35 years, until my dad retired at 64. And I'm really proud of it for what they did, and the work that they did, and the help that they gave to other people. So this cross just reminds me of the values my parents taught me, and where I'm from, and it's important to me. That's why I wear. I never hardly ever take this thing off. In fact, I never take it off. And every day when I look in the mirror and I see it, it just reminds me of that. So it kind of, and it's kind of a hiking thing. Like I said, not to talk religion or anything like that, but when I was going to do this trail, I was prepared to do it on my own. And sort of my mom said, "Oh, it's a pity, you never had somebody to do it with you." And I sort of said to her, I said, even though I'm alone, I'm really not alone. And like I said, I'm not gonna talk religion here, but you guys can figure that out for yourself. I'm not alone. But anyway, and that's what that means to me. So I just wanted to kind of share that with you, and I hope. I certainly don't want to, I hope that's okay. The other thing I have on here is I have this little sign. I don't know if you guys can see that. But what that sign says is take the road less traveled. And what that means to me is it's like, that's kind of what I do. That's like hiking. It's like everyday life. You know what? Don't do what everybody else does. You don't have to do that. You know, do your own thing. Do what you think is right. Do what you want to do. You know, take the road less traveled. You know, it means a lot of different things to me, and it has like a hiking kind of relevance, just kind of like for me, just like that Celtic cross does. It's related to hiking for me. It's related to a broad kind of stretch of other things, but it's all to me. It's all kind of hiking related. And so, and the same with this little sign. Like I said, take the road less traveled. You know, that's kind of what it means to me. So, so I have this little thing, and you know what? I accumulated these things. Kind of, I saw one thing, and then I saw another thing, and then I've stuck with the three for years. And the last thing I have on here is, which is kind of it's certainly, you know, to do with, like I said, for me, it's to do with a lot of things, but is I have this little, I don't know if you can see that, no, turn it around. So what that is, it's a little compass. It's a little silver compass. Obviously, it's just a, you know, the design. It doesn't work. It's not a compass in this. It's just a you know, in the same shape as a compass. And you know, what that means for me is obviously, you know, for hiking you need a compass, but for me it's about what the compass does, right? It's about keeping myself on track, you know, and whether that's hiking or whether that's like in everyday life, it's like, yeah, remember, Andy, you know, keep yourself on track. If you get off track, you know, get back on track, you know, get back on course. You know, that's what that means to me. And they're little reminders. They're just little reminders for me for everyday life, and for hiking, and they're related to hiking, and they're also related to other things. And that's why I wear this chain, and I wear it all the time. I wear it around my neck, and yeah, it's important to me. It really it means a lot to me. Just like my Purple Heart that I got from Lisa, you know, it means a lot to me. So I'm not leaving that stuff behind, I'm taking it with me, and I want it with me. You know, so when things aren't maybe going as well as they should, you can sort of remind yourself about different things. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I hope, like I said, and that's the update, and yeah, and we'll just keep on doing a little training run. I'm hoping that maybe I can take maybe to a few different places, just while we're waiting. You know, basically until the snow melts and the water opens, hopefully. But we do have some contingency plans. But once we get going, then we can start heading south, and with the goal being back in Grants, New Mexico. You know, and there's some other stuff going on that I'll share with you guys later. Just don't want to say too much right now, but yeah, I'm pretty excited. I'm really excited, actually, to get going again, and carry on the trail. You know, but you know, it's really nice to be home, and it's nice to see everybody, and you know, but yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, you know, I want to get going again too. I'll be sad to leave, but you know, it's yeah, and I really appreciate everybody that supported me watching the videos, sending me comments, like all that. I really do. It really does mean a lot to me. I'm glad that you guys enjoy it, and all that, and thanks for the support, and yeah, I'll try and do my best to keep the videos coming as much as I can, and if I have any news, I'll certainly share it with you. And yeah, so thanks again for watching, and Wow's downstairs. He's in my basement. He's not segregated to the basement, but that's where he is right now. He went down there to phone his wife, and I thought it might be a good time to do this whole video thing. I've been sort of thinking about it, and now that we kind of have we had a few things to figure out. Where are we going to cross? How are we going to do this? We thought about Waterton, with going through Goat Haunt and all that, but we realised that probably isn't going to be manned this year, so we'd be entering the United States illegally if we did that, which we don't want to do. We've got to try and abide by the law. And then it was actually Lisa's mum that said, "Oh, I don't think Chief Mountain has been open." And I was like, "Really?" And then sure enough, yeah, it hadn't been. So, but I mean, we do have some plans to get there, and we're not going to enter the United States illegally, because we have left, obviously, to come to Canada. So we don't want to sneak across the border or anything like that. That wouldn't be good for either one of us. And yeah, so that's like I said, we got a few things figured out, got some information, and all that stuff. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks again for watching, and I'll say good night. Good night.